Greetings, Summoners. Cosmic here, and welcome back to your weekly update for Battle Spirits Saga. And there is a ton of great news to get into that was announced or maybe you missed. But first, let us make sure that we cover the thing that you might not have heard about, but is really important for you to go talk to your local game store about. So GTS distribution and most likely Alliance. I haven't personally been able to confirm that one yet because all of our stores use GTS, but there is a form that was sent to your local game store to fill out to receive demo decks in January. So if you were previously bummed out that you missed out on early adopter or your store didn't sign up in time or whatever the case, if you just want to make sure that you can get demo decks to help spread the word about Battle Spirits Saga in your local area, talk to your stores. If they're carrying Digimon, Dragon Ball Super, or One Piece, they should have received this email about the demo decks. Now, again, I'm sure they are going to be limited in some quantity, right? It's not like they can just print them forever. I'm sure Bandai is going to do their due diligence in making sure that they're printing enough so that stores who want this can sign up for it. So please make sure that you go talk to your local game store, ask them if they've received the form, and tell them to sign up. I'm sure this is going to be like a 1-week window. Our rep didn't say anything about it, but you know, these are to be sent out in January. So at the latest, at the time of the recording, there's 2 weeks left to get it in, then plus holidays. So less than 2 weeks, let's just say, given New Year's, Christmas, and all that stuff. So please go talk to your LGS, get demo decks, and help spread the word of Battle Spirits Saga, because that is the most important thing from this week's update that you'll hear about. But there are, you know, probably more exciting stuff that you want to learn and want to know about. But I really wanted to make sure that we covered the demo decks available through your distributors at the local game store level. So there was a awesome 4K lore video that dropped today again, and this was actually the lore update that unfortunately Core TCG spoiled early last week or 2 weeks ago, and I forget exactly how long ago it was. But what was cool is now we finally have all the different posters and what those spirits are going to be. So again, I just did a quick matchup 1-to-1 here. I'm sure that we're going to see some changes to them, like the posters themselves. Likely not final. Obviously, they're going to have like Battle Spirits Saga and a better logo and better framing and all that stuff. But again, our store, Loot Card Shop in Michigan, did sign up for early adopter and put in for the max number of cases that we had to and all that good stuff. So we will be having an unboxing video of some type, you know, for the posters, the demo decks, the promo packs. We'll probably like open one and just so we can like check the card, you know, stock. Are they going to be foil? Are they going to be non-foil? Again, at the time of the recording, we still haven't heard a lot of news about the early adopter program other than it's starting in January. I called my store yesterday. Still no word, so I'm hoping it's early January, but honestly, at this point, it might be mid-January. Who knows? Looking forward to seeing more about that when the time comes. Also, if you're looking around the site, now I didn't go deep enough to really bring up the old examples because, you know, these very well could be placeholders. Now, Dark Grail, which is this one in the top right corner, we know that's basically 100% confirmed at this point, but the other two we haven't seen yet, either via test prints or spoilers otherwise, so take those with a grain of salt. But if you are someone who came from Battle Spirits as a background, either back in 2009 or you've been following it through the Japanese format that's currently available, you know, some of these cards might look familiar to you. But again, I didn't want to spoil it too much and saying like, oh, we're definitely getting this for, you know, BSS 01. Probably are, but it's hard to say for sure one way or another. But if you are excited for it, if you want to go digging for what these cards did in their old effects, then, you know, all the power to, you know, the wiki, you can go look that up. But I just wanted to say that, hey, it's a little bit of a scavenger hunt, you know, of the different arts that are available if you want to go looking for those. And we did compile some of those already in the Discord, so there has been some of these pulled out if you just kind of want the you know, the cheat sheet for the answers, so to speak. But really fun to see these kind of throwbacks available on the website. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about before we get into the site update itself is two gorgeous spoilers that we got. So after you watch the lore video, and again, no big spoiler or anything, but because of the lore update was already published, and you probably read through it by now, we already know that Supernova and the Grand Underworld here are going to be the two kind of key characters in the story, at least for the first set for BSS 01. So it was really nice at the very end of the video, we did get to see the full card text. And again, because of the test print that we've seen already, which was exactly right for what's here on the actual card, plus this being in the finalized template, this is, you know, we can't say it's 100% confirmed until Bandai themselves is like, hey, here's the card, yada, yada. But this is like 99% confirmed because we've seen it in the test print. It's the same exact effect. Supernova Dragon Siege Warrior Nova, his effect is referenced in the lore, in the video as well. So his effect, 100%, it's there. I love that the flavor text on the bottom ties back to the lore video. It's beautiful. I love how they've done this. It's an X rare. It's what we'd expect. More on that in a minute. And then we also have the Queen, who is here again in X-Rare. The numbers match up for what we'd expect. There's the flavor text, which goes with the Blood Curse effect, which, if I'm not mistaken, was a new to this version when compared against old. So all this lines up quite well for what we expect to see in the first set for Battle Spirits Saga. So all that is super exciting. I hope that the special rares are just like removing the text box and it's more Battle Spirit style, but more to see on that in the future. And then also, these are both just crazy effects. So I know that there was some concern about the overall, size of the text box and all that stuff. But, this is one of those times where like, wait, you just have to see what our top end cards are going to look like. And they really utilize that text box space quite well. And I do really appreciate the color coding of the levels compared to where it just said level 1, level 2, level 3. Which yes, it might be, someone might say, oh, it's too much color contrast on the card itself, but it's a lot better than just all the black font text. Now, again, if you're coming from Battle Spirits, you're probably used to it. It's just kind of like whatever to you, but I think this is such a night and day difference improvement that I am just absolutely in love with it. So again, love the new template. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's going to do so well for us in the future when we have more cards that have like these either keywords or different level effects where it's like 1 and 2 and then 3. It's so good for what it means for the future of the game, but it's one of those things that you have to just kind of wait and see how they use it. And then the last thing I kind of tucked off to the corner over there, but the first effect some people might not have remembered, but in the demo decks we do have a Siege Worm, which is referenced in Supernova's first effect. So that's kind of one of those just like, hey, we talked about this like a month ago on the channel, like, hey, this card is probably going to be used for Supernova Dragon. Spoiler, it was, or is going to be used for it. So that's just kind of like your one-to-one comparison. So, yes, it is a very strong effect, but in order to get that very strong effect, you have to have the stars aligned, so to speak, for both having the unit and then burning your soul core for that time. So if you're going against a more removal heavy style of deck, it might be quite difficult to keep that unit on the board, and or, if you're placing over it, you have to remember that instead of playing another spirit, you then chose to play over one, so you are losing a blocker, to, speak loosely there for a second, where your opponent, yes, you're healing up to 5, but if that's like your only noteworthy thing on the board, your opponent can probably just play a couple more spirits and then just kill you. So there's a lot of balancing that's given to this effect, so don't read into it too much as of right now until you get the full context of what's coming out in the first set and the starter decks. I expect it to be good, but I know from the limited knowledge we have first, everyone might go, oh my god, that's insanely a broken effect, you're healing in red, yada, yada, yada. But there really is a give and take to it, so we have to wait and see what that's going to look like with the full set. And then the last thing really quickly is just talking through some of the site updates. Again, I encourage you, please go look at the lore video. Please go to the website. Obviously, this is all being tracked by Bondi. All of it's being, how many hits are they getting on the site versus the video. So go like and comment their video and all that good stuff. Please, give them the interaction that they need to give Battle Spirits Saga some steam on YouTube, because certainly with this type of update and some of the updates that are going to be coming out, and I'm so excited to talk about January. I can't talk about it yet, but really exciting stuff in January happening. So once that happens, I think there's going to be a lot more information coming down the line and some things that will really get players interested in Battle Spirits Saga, but we kind of have to wait till after the holidays to get them, which is fair. So a couple things I just wanted to go through and highlight as we're going through this. So again, brand new site, love the update overall. But then also if we go to products, oops, wrong one, I clicked on world. Okay, the world map is beautiful. We'll go back in a second. But if we go to the products page, one thing that did change here, which was really surprising, and hopefully that comes through with the screen recording, is Saga Rare. So it's not top rare anymore. And also, Nova was not a Saga Rare, which we would expect, again, given his importance both in the lore, Battle Spirits as a whole, all that stuff, we would have expected Nova to be our secret rare, to use the terminology from like One Piece, so like Shanks and Yamato. He should have been our Saga Rare. If we assume that Saga Rare is going to be the secret, which makes a lot of sense, right? X rares being 12, that is going to be like your super rares. That all fits. Special rares, it's going to be 11. That all makes sense. In the alternate arts, there's currently 9, if I remember correctly, in One Piece card game. And our set is a little bit larger than One Piece's, so that's another important note. So that makes sense. So the special rares are then the alt arts. But then we have Saga rares, which should then be, if we look at Bandai's history, they've long since moved away from the ultimate scenarios in Dragon Ball Super. In Digimon and One Piece, they have secret rares, which again is going to be like your Omniword Zord Defeat. It's going to be your Shanks, your Yamato, Jessamon GX, I think it was the name of it. Shoutmon. If you play the various other games, you know. And typically, they're only going to be about $20 unless there's something absolutely broken and needs to be banned, like Death Xmon, right? They're still a card game company. They're going to make mistakes from time to time. But generally speaking, your secret rares are about $20 or less, so it's really not a concern. But it does kind of strike me as odd that it says Saga rare here. It's after the alternate arts, and it's not Supernova. So I'm really hoping this is just something kind of on the side in terms of, hey, we didn't know exactly how we want to change this, or maybe they're saving it for a future reveal, or maybe there's a character more important than Supernova. I mean, that's very much a possibility. This is a new story. It's new lore. It's a new adventure for the Battle Spirits IP. So we have to wait and see. The other part that's really neat here, it's kind of cut off here, is that it also references a core card that's going to be inserted into each pack. And I really hope, oh, sorry, it's right there. One core card. I really hope that this is going to be something similar to the Dawn cards in One Piece. And two different ways to approach this. One, it's either going to be like the Dawn cards where it's literally just like a card version of cores, which I know some players would prefer. And if that's an option, great. Where it's like some of them will be blue, some of them will be red, and it'll just be like at the bottom so you can stack them onto your cards. Like Energy and Pokemon, very easy to read, very, clear to see from across the table, that sort of thing. Or it could just be like the Punch-Out tokens that we've seen that were in Japan, where it's just, very thin paper pieces for blue cores and one for your soul core, so that players who are not able to get the starter decks, or maybe they don't need a starter decks, right? Maybe you don't care about any of the cards that are in them. There's still an alternate option for you to have the game pieces that you need to get. Going back to Dragoborn, we got a dice in every booster, and I thought that was really nice because, again, not everyone wanted to buy the starter decks, or again, just in some regions, they won't be available. So you want to make sure you're giving players the pieces they need to play the game and enjoy the game. And I'd love to see that there's a reference here to the core card. Again, what it means, we have to kind of wait and see. We did get updates for the starter decks as well. All new box art, all new the X rares. They're going to be in each one of them, so we can go back and cover those in just a second. I think it's under the World tab. And then overall, your core set, which is going to have those 2 promos that we've talked about on a previous page. So there is some interesting updates that were on here. And then the other one that's being mentioned is pre-release in March 2023. So we have both set 1 and starter decks launching in March. Now, in One Piece, it was just the starter decks for the super pre-release events. And those obviously had some big money cards. Those were fun to go to, but a bit more limited. And I'm really curious to see what they do about this one. If we then go back to, and you'll have to see it in a previous video because they updated the website and I can't just go click to where it was on the website. It doesn't exist anymore. But if you remember, going back to the early adopter signups and the kind of rewards that you get for each month, in March, there was I think there were stickers ultimately, but basically there was table numbers for the tournament support, which is what it was called. March was the tournament month for Battle Spirits Saga. That leads me to believe that some stores might be getting product. If you're in the early adopter, you might be getting product a whole month earlier. Well, we don't know when the event in March is happening, right? It just might be 2 weeks before, and then it's not a big deal. Who knows? But you might be getting your product earlier in March for this event, and then full release will be April 7th. Again, that is 100% the date. You cannot tell me otherwise unless some global thing happens where shippings get delayed. April 7th, 100% release date. Nothing can change my mind now anymore. It's really going to be interesting to see how they do this, because the only other event that is big enough that like Bandai could go to and host something like this would be PAX East. But at least from what I could find, they haven't had a large footprint there in March in the past. So there's nothing. There's no other grand event that Bandai has a relationship with that they would then host these events at least in the United States. Again, I cannot speak for other regions. Your other distributors tournament organizers might have some other setup, but at least here in the States, there's nothing in March that would make sense for them to do a pre-release event. So if you pre-ordered through your LGS, you might get insanely rewarded for doing so. And kind of, I hope they do, right? That's the biggest thing and the greatest challenge that Battle Spirits Saga faces. The game will only survive and thrive if we as a community push it at the local level, because regionals will carry their own weight, right? Everyone's going to play the game for the, either for the money or because you love it. That's not a problem. But for sales to continue and for the game to grow organically from there, you have to focus on the local game store. So you might have noticed that either in my videos or just how I'm telling people within the Discord, like, it's time to get serious. January is when demo kits start, and now that we know that Bandai is giving demo decks to just literally everyone, if you again, I'm speaking strictly here in the States. I'm sure the other regions will have some kind of connection at the distributor level, but Bandai is giving everyone access to demo decks. Please, I cannot stress, as someone who helped with Force of Will and made the game very successful in the first year and a half before the balancing went out the window, and we won't talk about that, but as someone who had quite literally done all the legwork for another game and made it extremely successful, please, if there's nothing else you get from this video, go talk to your local game store. Tell them to sign up for the demo decks. It is so important, and watching the organic growth happen from that point going forward will be extremely important to making sure that Battle Spirits Saga sticks around. So I really can't stress it enough. And you'll notice that, again, I am speaking now and forever only for the States region, United States, because that is the area that I know. It's what I've dealt with. I've had a lot of relationship with different stores and vendors and all that stuff. So if you are outside of the United States, I'm sorry, I will not pretend to know or, fake knowing anything about those other regions. I am strictly speaking how to make Saga successful in the States, because I've done it before, and I'm damn well going to try to do it again, because this is my favorite trading card game in the last 10 years, and I want to see it do well. So the last thing, and that probably would have been a better point to end on, but the last thing I want to talk about too, there they are, is some of these effects were actually changed. So sorry, the Dark King Snake, his effect, I keep forgetting it's a slide. His effect was actually changed if you looked at it, and I think I can pull this up a little bit better. There we go. His effect was actually changed to be when summoned, compared to the other ones that we had. So it's a bit more limited, right, compared to what we have previously. So it looks like there was actually a bit more testing that was done between the previous reveals that we've got and now. Plus, there's also flavor text. We have the starter deck number that's available on here. So now I feel pretty confident in saying, like, this is the final reveal. This is what all these cards are going to be. As we zoom in forever. And those are going to be listed on the site under the welcome. So please go check out the site. The lore video is up. It is absolutely amazing. Also, I got to give, where is it really quick? I got to give a quick shout out to my boy. I'm not going to say that this is Pentons confirmed, but it's good enough for me. So yeah, Pentons are available in set 1. Let's go. I'm super excited to see where these go, because I love these little dudes, and they also have really cool effects in yellow. So I'm hoping this means either one of the two decks will be a predominantly like magic and trickster focus for yellow, which is very on theme for them, and would include Pentons because it's also very on theme for them. So obviously not everything in this video is going to be in set 1 because we're not having blue and green, but those were also confirmed in the video. But if you want a general sense of what to expect from those different regions, please make sure to go check it out. It's awesome. It's on their main page. Give them a like, give them a comment, all that good stuff. Get that engagement going to help spread the word about Battle Spirits Saga. So with that, happy Friday, happy another week of Battle Spirits Saga news. And again, please go talk to your local game store. Tell them about those demo decks. Get them to sign up. Get them excited. Tell them you want to host demo deck days for Battle Spirits Saga on the weekends, and you are willing to work with them to make this game successful. And I promise, if you do all that, if you talk to them and you put forward the effort, you will have a great locals for this game. But somebody has to start it, and it has to be you. Again, only speaking for the States. If you're in other regions or don't have a local game shop, here's my normal disclaimer. This may not apply to you, but I promise you, if you are the person who can get it started, you will be rewarded so much for Battle Spirits Saga community in the future. So happy Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hopefully more news coming up next week, but it might be a little bit of a no news period with the holiday and all that, but some super exciting stuff in January I hope you look forward to. So until then, stay hydrated, my friends, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next Battle Spirits Saga video. See ya.